We've all seen it. That one person on the team who just seems checked out. But a bad work ethic, it's so much more than just being a little lazy or procrastinating. It's this quiet but unbelievably destructive force that just sucks the life, the success, and the money right out of a company. So let's really dig into what that costs. So let me ask you this. What's the silent killer of team success? It's usually not some big, dramatic market crash or a flawed strategy. Nope. More often than not, the real danger is already inside the building. It's that slow, creeping corrosion of a poor work ethic. Okay, so let's make sure we're all on the same page here. On one side, you have a strong work ethic. That's all about commitment, taking responsibility, and having that fire to really excel. And on the other side, well, that's where you find the procrastination, the total lack of focus, and just indifference. The difference couldn't be more clear, and you have to get this to understand everything that follows. First, let's talk about the thing everyone in business understands: money, the tangible losses. This is where a bad work ethic stops being some vague HR problem and starts becoming a number you can see, a number that directly hits the bottom line. And the immediate damage? It's exactly what you'd think. All of a sudden, your team's output just tanks. Efficiency goes out the window. You start seeing way more errors, which means people are wasting precious time redoing work instead of pushing forward. And that, of course, leads to missed deadlines, blown opportunities, and entire projects getting thrown off schedule. These are the first, most glaring red flags. And this isn't just some abstract idea. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a marketing team, right? A couple of people just don't do their research on time. They basically phone it in. The result? The whole team has to scramble to throw together this rushed, weak campaign proposal. And just like that, a huge potential client, a massive contract. It all just vanishes. But the fallout can be so much worse than just losing a deal. A simple lack of attention to detail doesn't just eat up time. In some industries, think manufacturing, construction, even healthcare, that exact same carelessness can become a massive safety hazard. We're talking about life and death stuff. In fact, there's a formal term for this which comes from production research. It's called the cost of poor quality. It's a way to actually quantify all the losses, from wasted materials to wasted man-hours, that come directly from mistakes and having to do things over. And as research from places like the International Journal of Production Research shows, it often traces right back to a lack of employee diligence and engagement. And this is how a project just completely falls apart. It's a chain reaction. See, task A gets done, no problem. But then, in week 2, one person's poor work ethic holds up task B. Since everything is connected, task C is now automatically late, and boom. Just like that, the final deadline is toast. It's proof that it only takes one weak link to snap the whole chain. But the damage isn't just about spreadsheets and timelines. Not even close. Next, we have to talk about morale. This is what I call the ripple effect, that hidden human cost that can actually be way more destructive in the long run. Because what happens is you create this incredibly toxic environment. Your best people, your high performers, they're forced to constantly pick up the slack. They're the ones fixing other people's mistakes, and that makes them feel frustrated and, frankly, resentful. Meanwhile, the low performers are busy avoiding hard work and dodging any real responsibility. That imbalance is pure poison for a team. And this chart, this really visualizes how unfair that feels. Research into what makes organizations just and fair shows this kind of imbalance is a huge driver of low morale. I mean, when your top talent feels like they have to give 120% just so someone else can get away with giving 60%, you've got a massive problem on your hands. So here's the really crucial part. That one person's attitude creates a ripple effect of negativity. It's not contained. It's like a virus. It spreads distrust across the whole team. It slowly but surely lowers the standard for what counts as good enough. And maybe the worst part, it crushes the motivation of the very people who actually want to do great work. So what happens when those great employees finally get fed up? They leave. And replacing them? It's not just a pain. It is wildly expensive. Once you add up the costs of recruiting, hiring, training, and all the knowledge that just walked out the door, you're easily looking at over $50,000. A bad work ethic doesn't just demotivate your team, it literally pushes your best people to your competitors. Okay, we've laid out the problem. We've seen how bad the damage can be. But here's the good news. This is fixable. So now we get to the fun part, the solutions. We're going to talk about a practical framework for turning this all around and building a stronger culture. The solution really boils down to 5 core strategies that any leader can start using. It all starts with setting crystal clear expectations. Then you foster a culture where people actually take ownership. From there, it's all about you leading by example, offering the right kind of training, and finally, being smart enough to dig in and fix the root problems. Let's break down that first step because it's huge. Setting clear expectations. The logic here is so simple but so powerful. When you clearly define what someone's job is and give them goals you can actually measure, you create accountability. There's nowhere to hide. When you give regular, specific feedback, you get rid of any confusion. It all adds up to a system that's fair, consistent, and leaves zero room for excuses. And this next point, man, this is absolutely critical. Culture is not the mission statement you hang on the wall. It's what you do. It's how you act. As a leader, everyone on your team is watching you. If you show up on time, if you're dedicated, if you're accountable, that's the pace you set. Your actions will always, always speak louder than your words. And finally, it is so important to remember this. What looks like a bad work ethic isn't always a character flaw. Sometimes it's just a symptom of a much deeper issue. Is that person completely burned out? Are they struggling with stress? Are they even sure what their job is supposed to be? A great leader doesn't just punish the behavior. They play detective. They figure out the root cause and then offer real support, whether that's help for burnout or just a clearer job description. So we've covered the high cost, the toxic ripple effect on morale, and a real practical framework for building something better, which really just leaves one final direct question for you. Looking at your own team right now, what is the one single conversation you can start tomorrow to begin making things better? Because taking that one small step, that's how you start building a more productive, more positive, and more successful future for absolutely everyone.